Welcome back, guys. Hope you've all had a brilliant, cracking week and another absolutely grand week ahead of us. So, on this one, before I get the scratch coat done and the beads done, and I'm gonna get the bands and reveals done and get them all cut out. And you'll notice some are done different than others and stuff, but we'll get into the details on the video. On this one, guys, here, it's two houses, believe it or not, stuck together. It's all scratched and beaded. We'll have to put bands on, and then we're wet dicing it all. Fun. Quick look at it here, guys. Getting the bands on today. Bit cold yet. Big lump of the house. Have a couple of nice clean buttons for the bands as well. That's the cement we're using. Sand. Expansion joint there too. But there's going to be bands in the corners and bands on the windows. Thank God there's no base, because it's actually clean this side, but the other side's an absolute mess. Like, buttons here, head's going straight up, reveals on. Just freehand these ones for handiness. So as you can see, pushing the stuff on pretty hard here. I'm gonna get it well into those keys from the scratch coat. It does look quite dry, but everything has been splashed down. You don't want to wet it too much, because these bands do go on pretty heavy, as you'll see. Again, beads on. Yes, prefer to do it without beads. I think it just looks a wee bit better, possibly long term stronger, but this is what was asked for, and you have to do what's asked for, obviously. And also, it's all going to get painted, so you won't see the white of the beads when it is painted. So, not to worry about any of those sorts of things. And obviously, a lot of coating and a lot of straightening here to do on the stage. The faces are nice, but the reveals are dry. So, as I was just saying, someone was asking me how they're going. So yeah, the faces are actually quite nice to rub, but the reveals actually drying a bit quicker, so they all needed finished first. Sometimes you get that with the plastic bead, it does dry up along the bead pretty quick. Although these have all been wet down, as I said previous. Still quite a warm, sort of windy type of day, so really good day for hanging the clothes out on the line. And you're going to get a lot of drying on your render as well. So yeah, what would you guys prefer? Would you prefer beads and stop beads nailed around the edges, or sort of cemented in around the edges and just go it that way? Or do you prefer the hand cut that I'm about to do in the next clip? I know it's all personal preference, but I myself think that it's all a bit nicer without the beads. Whether you go to, you're going to paint or you're not going to paint, I still think it's a bit nicer without beads, and possibly a bit stronger. I do tend to think that plastic bead is a bit of a weak point. But again, why I'm doing it all this way, this is the way the site's doing it. This is the way the previous houses were done, so they're not going to change what they're doing on the next houses. The angle beads around the window does actually speed it up somewhat, because you're not having to cut rules to suit every window. You're not going to have to nail rules on to do the reveals and the heads. Previous days, then return them, and then joint in the render. Personally, I only like jointing in the head, and I prefer to do the reveal and the side band all fresh as possible. Again, with the head as well, I'd prefer to do the head maybe just a day before, so it's still setting, it's still fresh, so it still bonds. But here we are, we've got some windows have buttons, and the ones that we didn't have enough buttons for are getting freehand cut. So yeah, it's gonna all turn out pretty good in my opinion, pretty sharp in my opinion. Over at our TikTok, we're getting lots and lots and lots of questions on there about, or statements maybe, should I say, about cover the sill. Sills were never covered from day one, from them being built in, and there was, I'm not joking, like literally a whole coat of mortar from the blockwork being built stuck to them, and pretty strong, I might add. Took quite a lot of time to just clean that as we were going. But yes, we had to clean that before we finished our scratch coat and beading, so that we could even get the bead and the scratch coat done, because there was that much stuff sort of around it. Windows covered up pretty well, so not too much worries on cleaning them, but obviously around the edges all still need tussle brushed and washed. But at least we know the glass is protected. Again, so that was one of the main things people kept saying. Also found it very strange when it's just a concrete sill, and plasters in general always clean up after themselves, so I'm not sure what them guys have came across plastering wise. I would always recommend on my videos that you wash the sand and cement as soon as you're done. Whether it be on a soffit, a windowsill, tarmac. If you spill a bit of tarmac and you want to wash that straight away. You get a bit on gutter and anything, window frames, you want to wash that straight away. Especially when you're finished, to get it all cleaned up. So I'm not sure why people think a concrete sill is gonna need covered up. Had it been a sandstone windowsill, or maybe natural stone that's gonna maybe be more porous, absolutely cover it up, guys. Would recommend that a million times. Again, like I said, there's probably 100 times to do this. I'm showing two here. Well, I'm 1.5, one with beads and one being freehand cut, and then obviously some with just the buttons all nailed on and ready just to be plastered and stripped off a day or two later. Again, I have seen these timbers that we've got given are brilliant timbers, because they're plain smooth and they're reasonably straight. There's only been one or two that had a knot in them, and it tends to throw it off. It's not square and it's not straight, so you can't use that on a full length, so you have to cut that down to do windows at the point of bend. So yeah, that there. But yeah, I have seen some nightmares with rules, with people doing bases, plinths, bands, where they go to take off the timber and it absolutely annihilates all their good work, and that leaves you with one option. Do you start again? Do you patch it in? And most plasters will know what patch on the outside looks desperate. So yeah, that's a question for you guys. What do you think? Is it safer to cut or safer to nail? I know what I think is safer, but I'd like to hear all the thoughts out there, because there's lots and lots of thoughts out there, lots and lots of opinions. For instance, some people don't agree with these scratchers. Again, this is the scratcher that's been picked for this job, so that's the one we're using. I do believe that the combs are good. Again, the comb scratcher and this here spiked scratcher, spoked scratcher, they both have their advantage and their disadvantage. This one's great for a drier wall where it's drying. It'll still give you that nice deep key. And you do want it somewhat deep, guys. You don't want to undermine it, absolutely not. But you do want it deep, because that'll lock in your top coat, your finish coat. But again, the comb, I find it better for a key because they're slightly closer together. Also, some have said it looks a bit neater. Very possibly does look a wee bit neater. Um, and then you have the wavies out there that want to do wavy wavies, and I'm going to cover why I don't like the wavies in an upcoming video, and why I think that straight is better. Again, people said that basically, all over on the TikTok, people basically said that this type of scratch coat would fail. Now, if you watch what I'm doing, this stuff is still fresh and soft on the same day I'm cutting it. I'm having to work hard to get that released off that scratch coat. That is not falling off anytime soon. It needs to be cut off with the tool with plenty of pressure and scraped off. I mean scraped off, even to the point where the next day we'll probably need to scrape open some of them keys a wee bit more, just to be safe and allow the top coat back into them. But like, it's absolute nonsense, as in the fact that I remember when I was sort of coming out of the time and we were doing a big bar. I still drive past it now and again down in Belfast. Very large bar, had big outsides on it, and it was a brick. It was like a grey brick, and it was scudded, and it was scratched, with this type of scratcher, and then it was floated out nice and heavy, and we cut lines in it, just square lines, nothing, no V's or anything. I tend to like the V's a wee bit better myself. So it was all cut square, and it looked brilliant, and it still looks brilliant. And that was a long time ago, like 20 years plus, and it still looks very good. And there's nothing has fell off, nothing. I can't even see any cracks on it. I haven't really stood outside it because I don't want to go in drinking in the bar, but yeah, it still looks like pretty much like the day that it was done. So that's testament to the boss and the plasters that were on that, because they've done a fantastic job, and it still looks great. It still looks fresh. Has been painted after a lot of years, obviously, and that looks good too. Whoever the painter was, obviously did a good job there too. But my whole point is that the scratch coat and the scud coat onto the brick, everything there, it's good for me looking at it, because me going forward, that's a good thing to say. Well, that's lasted 20 odd years. That's lasted so many years. So, it gives me the confidence to do that on my jobs. Too hard to do that with one hand and to get two hands out. And last one to cut is the big front door. So that one cut. Nice flat edge on them. Another wee coat and dash. Spans on this one. And then that just returns right into the corner because it would be a silly wee bit. Again, same here. Straight up the head. Otherwise you're dicing a wee 2-inch strip. It just looks silly. These ones to go on. Watch my step. And then these ones to cut after two.
What we do in life echoes in eternity.